Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive guide, and empowerment coach. Today is Tuesday, November 24th, 2020, and I'm here with this week's Pick an Angel card reading. My intention for these weekly readings is to allow you to communicate with your guides and your angels, to allow your intuition to lead you as to what their messages may be for you this week. And hopefully in doing so, you start to understand a rhythm or feel a rhythm between you and your guides. So what I've done is I have used my Doreen Virtue Messages from Your Angels combined with The Legend of Avalon by Colette Baron Reid to create a 4-card spread. I've done 5 of these spreads. And then in addition to that, I have pulled a Kyle Gray from his Angels and Ancestors deck, sort of a overview card. So that card represents an encapsulation of the energy, and then the other 2 decks are going to give us some more detail. I will put timestamps in the comments, and then again, allow your intuition to lead you as to what is the message they have for you this week. Before I go into that, I want to talk about a couple of astrological dynamics that are coming up. We have the planet Neptune, which rules spirituality. It rules fog. It rules confusion. It rules illusion. These are sort of these are the dynamics of it, meaning the polarities of it. That's where I'm going. That planet is in Pisces, its natural sign, and it is going direct on, I believe, the 29th of November. The next day, on the 30th of November, we are having a partial lunar eclipse in the sign of Gemini. Gemini rules our everyday activities. It rules the way we think, the way we speak, the way we process information. It rules the media. It rules the internet, social media. It rules short-term travel, like travel going, within 100 miles of your home, going back and forth to work, walking on the streets where you live. This eclipse is a culmination. It's a full moon. It's the ending of one thing so that another thing can begin. 2020 in and of itself has had an amazing amount of rare astrological events, all leading up to what I feel is almost like a breaking out of the shell, the transformation of the caterpillar into the butterfly. And the process of breaking out of that gestational environment is not easy. And so we're experiencing that as humans. So my point is that as we go into this eclipse, eclipses have influence for 6 months. And the first few weeks, they have a tremendous amount of influence. I believe we're going to start to see information coming up about structures, about the things that rule our lives, the authoritative things that rule our lives, organizations, your work organizations, our governments, all types of authorities, and information will come up. There could be the potential that the information comes up in a way of a truth that's been hidden. And I don't quite want to call it a secret, although there could be secrets, but it's just there's a revealing, and we're going to go through a series of revelations where truth will be revealed, which will give us new opportunities as humans to make new choices. We're rewriting our structures. So as this lunar eclipse approaches, you may want to start to think about what do I want to intend? What do I want to create over the next 6 months? How has 2020 shifted me to claim my life more intentionally? That's where I want to put it. So I'll talk more. Next week, I'm going to do the monthly heavenly horoscopes for December. And I'll talk about, because we have 2 eclipses coming. Eclipses come in pairs. So the first one will be on November 30th here in the United States. On the other side of the planet, it will be December 1st. And then we'll have one 2 weeks later on a new moon. So let's jump into our readings. For those of you that pulled reading number 1, I pulled Kyle Gray's Father Sky card, trust in the unknown. And I feel like that trust in the unknown is not a vulnerability, but rather a trust in a bigger picture. I believe that each human that chooses to incarnate, each soul that chooses to incarnate into a human experience does so for a specific purpose. And that purpose can be layered. Being during this revolutionary time, meaning breaking down old structures that are not balanced, that don't provide opportunity for all, that is where the trust in God. This is the card to me that represents God, Father God, and that we are being watched over, we are being guided, we are being loved as we walk through the illusion of darkness. Because the darkness that we feel as the old structures break down really offer us opportunities to write the new structures. And as I say that, it's kind of like I'm thinking about, driving to the job that you really don't like. Yeah, it's paying your bills, but you're just sick and tired of dealing with that boss that is constantly cranky, or the dynamics where you're working hard and not making money. So as you start to trust in a bigger picture, whatever disruption is being laid before you could be the very thing that opens up the doorways to a life that you'd only dreamed of. So let's see what the spread has to say. In the first position, for those of you that picked angel reading number 1, we have Daniel, the angel of marriage and partnership, and we have the novice. In the foundational position, the novice represents new beginnings, curiosity without practice, and skill and innocence. In the opportunity and or the obstacle, we have the angel Shanti representing peace. And then we have the Lady of the Lake representing courage, self-respect, responsibility, and truth, absolute truth. In the angel's advice, we have Archangel Michael and the burden card. And Archangel Michael in this particular deck represents the courage to make life changes that will lead us towards our happiness. And then overall, he does represent protection. So there's a certain amount of protection as you honor that part of your heart. And in the final position is the Raven and Rosetta. So the Raven represents timing, magic, and synchronistic events, and Rosetta represents parenting, teaching children at large. So I want to offer this. For those of you that picked reading number 1, I believe that Father Sky is asking you to trust in a bigger picture. I believe in the foundational position, Daniel, the angel of marriage, is telling you that partnership, balanced partnership, is coming to you. Part of your job, part of your exchange in the experience is to allow yourself to be a novice and to remind yourself that those that start a new beginning have a certain unknown path. It is not a proven path. And this is where you go back to God and you say, thank you for giving me the bravery, the courage, the Lady of the Lake, to pursue what is most important to me. And what is the price I'm willing to pay for this peace? I'm willing to pay the price of the burden of having courage to move towards what I really, really want. And I want to offer it this way. For those of you that picked angel reading number 1, if indeed you are in an imbalanced partnership, or you want to actually get married and start those markers of marriage, children, etc., then your willingness to be focused and intentional about that with God, not with your friends, not with your mom, your dad, or your coworkers, but to say, I am ready to meet my life partner. And I am calling that forth now, because up until now, it has been in some ways a timing issue. And if indeed for some reason you want to bring children into the world, I want to offer it this way. The last 2.5 years has been tremendously challenging in the skies, astrologically especially, and obviously 2020. And if indeed the soul is choosing to come into the earthly experience, if that disruptive astrological energy is not serving that soul's evolution, it may delay, come in after. So there's been a conjunction between the planet of fear, the planet of death and rebirth, and the planet of beliefs in a very restrictive sign. And in doing so, as those planets start to separate, the intensity of that cluster dissipates. And so, if indeed you are married and you want to have children, then your job is to have the courage to say to yourself and to spirit, I am ready to accept the timing of this. I know it's going to happen. I know my marriage partner is coming. I know that my marriage itself has an opportunity for balance, and I will be part of that creation by holding space in my heart for that experience. Okay, let's go on to angel reading number 2. And in angel reading number 2, your Kyle Gray card is the animal guardian. Trust your instincts. And when I saw this, the first thing I thought of is that those of you that picked angel reading number 2 are going to have to take a minute before you can really determine whether you're trusting your instincts or responding to a fear of some kind. We can inadvertently overlay the two, and we think that we are operating on an instinct. But if we take a minute, we'll realize we're trying to avoid a fear. So let's see what the angels have to say. In the foundational position, we have the swan, which represents trusting your intuitive gifts, and we have Omega, the angel of victory. Your desired outcome will happen in the near future. In the opportunity, the obstacle is Teresa, the card of worry, worrying about others, worrying about myself, feeling slightly burdened. And then there's the mystery card, which represents choice, free will. In the angel's advice, we have the joy card and Merlina, which represents needing to do more research, needing to look deeper in some ways, not deeper into my soul, but investigating, seeking expert advice. And let's see how this plays out. And the final is Celeste, the angel of new jobs and new homes, and there's the forgiveness card. So this is what I want to say, is this, I'm really kind of going to a very material way here. For those of you that picked angel reading number 2, trusting your instincts is in many ways allowing yourself the privilege of imagining what would it be like if I was in the job I wanted to be, if I was in the home I wanted to be in. Because this trusting of your instincts is going to lead you to a series of experiences that will, to me, anchor in that inner knowing. And in many ways, as you look at my opportunity is to choose not to worry, to shift that. Because when I saw Merlina and the joy card, I thought of the law of allowing. I thought the law of allowing, and even, you know, we talk about the law of attraction, which is the first step. I want to attract something in. But the law of allowing is to allow the experience to come in. And that, I think, for those of you that picked angel reading number 2, is to choose to imagine joyfully what it would be like. That's the research, is to let your imagination go from worrying about what is happening in the 3D world now into a projection of what will it feel like when I have that job or I'm living in that home. Because there is a new job or home coming, and it comes in such a way that makes sense of the challenges that you may have experienced to get there. And I say that because not only is hindsight 2020, but in this particular dynamic right now, I just got done talking about a lunar eclipse, the culmination, the ending of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. And for those of you that picked angel reading number 2, allowing yourself to determine whether your instincts are based on fear or faith, that's the first step. And then through that, faithful, saying to Spirit, thank you for giving me experiences so that I can anchor in my joy, knowing this situation is coming to me in the 3D world, and to stop worrying. Worry right now in 2020 is like almost like it's so palatable that no matter how good your life is, you could still feel the outside influences of others, of the dynamics, the ripple effect. So really being able to differentiate between what is yours and what is others, and then doing your best to continue to move yourself into the space of what does it feel like once I'm living in that new spot? What does it feel like once I'm in that new job? Because the disruption of 2020 may be what opened up that new job. It may be something that you would not have been offered had we been under the old structures. Okay, let's go on to angel reading number 3. And for those of you that picked angel reading number 3, I pulled the Great Teacher. And this is essentially a version of Jesus. And Jesus in many ways is with the dove of peace. And I feel like it says learn from spiritual experiences. If 2020 has not been a spiritual experience, I don't know what has. But what I believe that Jesus, the Great Teacher, is offering you is, this is the foundational position. The Wealth card and Azure saying your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have faith and patience and don't try to force it. Force is actually fear disguised. Force is, I don't trust it's going to happen. I don't really believe it's going to happen, so I'm going to push up against it, which actually slows the process down. Your opportunity and or your obstacle is to recognize your focus. Isn't that funny? Focus and force, are very similar here. The Indriel is the light worker card, and this is where you stand in your higher self, allowing your mind to be illuminated in many ways, that your desire comes. That as you ask, you shall receive. In the angel's advice, you're learning about communication. Maya represents schooling and education, and the communication is the self-talk. This lunar eclipse that's happening on November 30th / December 1st, depending upon where you are in the world, is in Gemini. Gemini rules the mind, the monkey mind, how I speak, how I think, how I communicate in general, both through my emails, through the media, through all sorts of things. So this, to me, for those of you that picked angel reading number 3, you have a wonderful opportunity to create a solid foundation in this shift. Because in the final position, what you have come to realize over this week, that it is compassion. And there's the partnership card. I want to say it this way, because this partnership card almost didn't feel like just 2 people. It felt like, I want to say kind of 3 people. And I know that sounds odd, but it's the partnership I have with myself. When I stop forcing, then I change my vibration, which then ripples into the partnerships I have outside myself. It's almost as if the identification of overwork, overstressing, over trying, now that you see that is a form of fear, you have more compassion for those that demonstrate that around you. And in doing so, bringing more balance by sitting in that vibration that says, as I invite the experience in, I can be patient, knowing there's a certain divine timing. And 2020 is a very hard year for timing. A lot of things that are being conceived right now, while they have many opportunities for growth, that growth may start with a big uphill climb, whereas in another period of time, it may start on a more even keel. So for those of you that picked angel reading number 3, the wealth card represents harmonious wealth. It's where I'm feeling and thriving, both in my material, my spiritual, my mental, my emotional bodies. So as you give life to that, you realize, what is my self-talk? And you start to really imagine yourself standing in peace, standing in a vibration where there is reason in the midst of madness. There is wisdom in the midst of chaos. And that's where I feel like you'll start to really see movement more clearly and more quickly. All right, let's go to angel reading number 4. For angel reading number 4, the Kyle Gray card that I pulled is the Trader. An exchange of energy creates abundance. And, to me, the Trader is interesting because he's got his hand over his heart. So rather than offering you goods and services, which he could be doing in a trade, he's offering something from his heart. So let's see what Spirit has to say. In the foundational position is the Truth card, and Francesca's saying, what do you visualize right now? Focus on that, because negativity will block your progress. In the opportunity and or the obstacle is Xana, the angel of protection, and the stag. And as I say that right now, I feel like while the stag can represent leadership, this feels like I'm being protected from some pride I may be having. And I say that pride because the pride, while I may be right or correct, I may not be serving myself. In the angel's advice, we have Chantal, the angel of romance and love, and we have the bee, which represents victory. And in the final position, we have the cow and we have Bridget. The cow is about asking and receiving and abundance and nourishment, and there is Bridget asking me to look deeper. For those of you that picked angel reading number 4, I believe that this is absolutely focused on your love life. I believe that potentially you could be saying, oh, love just doesn't work for me. I'm just not, I don't meet the right people. I always have this. And you are just engaged in your story. You're engaged in your previous experiences. And if indeed you want to experience something new, it's time to open up to a new dynamic. It's almost as if saying, it doesn't matter how many liars I dated. When I really allow myself to think about what the kind of partner I want, am I going to be stubborn? And this is what's happened to me. I need to protect myself. People are liars. People are cheaters. People do not show up for me. And the angels are saying, but your victory comes in your reignition of how you look at your love life, how you perceive it first within yourself. And then that experience will manifest itself within your physical, material experience, because the truth is that as you've been looking deeper, you're not seeing how you've been participating in the way you ask and receive. The universe is not judgy. The universe doesn't look at your desires and go, wow, Bob wants this and Sally wants that. And even though Sally's going, I'm done with love, I'm done with love, the universe does not know that Sally's not done with love. Sally wants love at a higher level, but she's scared. So what happens? We start chiming into the experience we don't like to protect ourselves. And we get stubborn about it. Nope, I'm not going to let it happen again. Nope, nope. And inadvertently, we are co-creating, not from our heart. We are not truly exchanging energy, as the trader asks. So for those of you that picked angel reading number 4, I would say to look at little more deeply, allow this lunar eclipse to look at your monkey mind and your story about love, and then to rewrite it. Because that's also what Gemini rules, is writing. And you can rewrite your story at any time. And your focus in on the new story will start to invite that experience in. So that's where I'm going. All right, let's go on to angel reading number 5, our final reading. The Kyle Gray card that I pulled for angel reading number 5 is the Wise One. Grow within your current experience. And as I say that, it feels like a challenging energy, because if the experience is unpleasant in some way, if the experience is challenging me, I don't want to grow. I just want to get over it. So in the foundational position is the cat and Fiona. Fiona says, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving their guidance. And while the cat represents healthy boundaries and independence, I also think it represents 9 lives. And that's partially where I'm going with this, as the Wise One asks you to grow within this experience. As we age, we understand more and more that challenging experiences aren't going to pull us under, that somehow we will live through it, or we will get past it. And I feel like this is really part of what is being called upon for those of you that picked angel reading number 5, is to start to realize that the current story is a story in progress, and your viewpoint in many ways will determine how it plays out. Because in the opportunity and or the obstacle, this is the dog unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. And Isabella saying, yes, the timing is right. Now, this is in the opportunity and or the obstacle. But part of your wisdom to grow in the current situation is to realize that God and the angels, source energy, the universe is in charge of now bringing that experience to you. And the angels are asking you to be vulnerable to the idea that the letting go card for me, especially for those of you that are unfamiliar with me, is the song from Frozen, Let It Go. It's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits, to break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. In love, in intimacy, we are no longer as humans needing each other for survival. I mean, yes, there are certain people that will on the planet, but for most of us now, it's a choice of love. And I feel like this is where growing within the situation, talking to God and the angels about the balance, the 9 lives I want. When I say 9 lives, if you're in a current relationship and the relationship is challenged, allowing for a rebirth. But part of that rebirth is not looking back. It's looking forward and making this declaration to be loyal to yourself while loving others. Because being loyal to yourself is not always villainizing somebody for their behavior, but rather saying, if you choose to be that way, then I have choices as well. Because in the final position, interestingly enough, is Bethany, the angel of self-care and the protection card. So I want to offer it this way. Because love to me, I don't know that I'm necessarily talking about intimacy when I talk about love. I'm talking about love in all of its forms right now. The love you experience within your family. It may not be balanced, or you may not feel seen the way you want to be seen, or people may not see your evolution on the planet. But part of your job is not to focus in on what their perception is, but your own. And in focusing in on your own, that sense of loyalty and love that you have for your human journey will allow others inadvertently, unconsciously, to join you rather than you joining them in the opposite experience. So that's what I got for you this week. I will be back within the next, I don't know, few days or so with Heavenly Horoscopes for December. And we'll just soldier on through 2020 together and look forward to shifts in 2021 that bring us more aligned to our happiness and what we want to create. So thank you so much for watching this week's video. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive guide, and empowerment coach. If you'd like to book a private session with me, my information is in the description below. Have a great week, everybody. And for those of you in the United States, happy Thanksgiving on Thursday. I am thankful and grateful for all of you. Have a wonderful week. Peace out.